fun to win the title. You might be down on them because of a recent loss at Rutgers, but their overall body of work is still excellent. They boast a National Player of the Year candidate at center, and they have lots of opportunities to in conference play, secure meaningful wins that can improve their seed drastically. If they're a top 4 seed or a top 3 seed in the tournament, with offensive and defensive balance and a go-to player, they're going to be a really tough out. I like Illinois to win the title at 30-1.
That's it for this Bet Rivers Sports Betting, brought to you by Bet Rivers Sportsbook, Detroit's hometown sportsbook. Check out the latest lines today at BetRivers.com. I'm Nick Costos. Keep it locked here for more throughout the day. Must be 21, playable in Michigan. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-270-7117.
Craig Gosman, president and managing partner of the Saginaw Spirit Hockey Club of the Ontario Hockey League, discusses his Applied Imaging relationship.
When I think of our relationship with Applied Imaging, I think of their people. My direct experience with Applied Imaging is that they have high character people with superior talent, with a focus on their clients' needs of high quality and efficiency. It runs all the way through their company from the top to the bottom.
Applied Imaging's culture.
Yeah, our culture at Applied Imaging is nice put together, and they walk the walk every day with their incredible focus on philanthropy, worthy causes and charities in the communities that they serve, and we do the same exact thing with the Saginaw Spirit in our hockey program.
Benefit
Because our partnership makes us better as a company. It makes our community better as a community as well.
character and title, focus, commitment. Call Applied Imaging today, 800-521-0983, 800-521-0983, or visit appliedimaging.com.
You're looking for a quality pre-owned vehicle? Look no further. Our friends Bill Allen here from Allen Toyota Warren. Our pre-owned vehicles go through a 160-point vehicle inspection. If it doesn't pass, we won't sell it. Many of them come with a 3-month, 3,000-mile limited warranty, 3 lifetime oil changes. We offer top dollar for your trade and include the latest Carfax report. We have a good selection to choose from, so come see us. We'd be glad to again. That's Allen Toyota Warren, located at the corner of Van Dyke and 696. Check us out online at DallenToyota.com.
Planet Fitness, the home of the Judgment Free Zone, is the official fitness partner of 97.1 TIG. With just one spray of Microban 24, your hard surfaces are sanitized for up to 24 hours. Touch after touch after touch.
So 6 hours from now?
Still sanitized?
12 hours?
Yep.
18 hours?
We're really doing this.
24 hours?
When used as directed, one spray of Microban keeps killing 99.9% of bacteria touch after touch for up to 24 hours.
Wow.
Microban 24, the sanitizer 4 out of 5 doctors use in their own homes. So why aren't you?
We travel to see what's around the bend and what we're capable of. And now Capital One's new classic travel card can keep up with you. Introducing Venture X from Capital One. 10x miles on hotels and rental cars, and 5x miles on flights booked on Capital One Travel, and 2x miles on everything else you need. Venture X. Always asking, where next? Capital One lets you grow up.
Return to call. See CapitalOne.com for details.
This hour contains brought to you by Memorial Special Benefit Plans. Call 877-73-REVOLVE 2200.
A station where your opinion matters. Live from the Jamie Samuelson studio, here's Tony and Jansen.
President's Day edition of the show. We're here. Many of you guys still getting up, going to work. Life moves on.
Does.
I kind of wish we had the Star Spangled Banner in the background earlier today when you went on your baseball rants about just being around the game this weekend and wanting spring to be back. Jim Costa in for Stoney, John Jansen sitting across from me. We're having a good time already.
Yeah, and because it is President's Day, you've seen my son.
Yes, very cool. You play, the most John Jansen thing, by the way, is we get a couple minutes here or there, and John is out there having a catch with his son. It is the most wholesome thing in the world. I hope people can just, a tear comes to your eye.
Yeah.
Father of the year.
No, but it is beautiful because, like, okay, so during the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
Nobody's here, right? So they cleared out a bunch of desks. We've got this big open space.
Massive.
And right now, since nobody's in the office, right at breaks, I'm out there and working on a few things. Right?
John's working on fielding grounders. You got fungos out there. It's,
I didn't bring a fungo. I should have.
it's spacious out
It's
there.
spacious, and so we're working on as he catches the ball, making sure it's because he plays third base.
and first. And so when he's at third base, making the throw across the field, getting the fingers across the seams, making sure he's got a good grip on the ball. And so we're working on some of those things at commercial breaks.
How old is he?
He's 11.
So I'm thinking, like, youth baseball. You're at third base, you gotta have a strong arm. Like, you start thinking the stereotypes of, like, where you put kids at the early ages. Third base, kid's gotta have a howitzer.
Yeah, he's got a good arm. And so the key for youth baseball is you've got to have somebody at shortstop that can cover some ground, has a strong arm as well. You've got to have a strong arm at third. The most important thing is that you have somebody at first base that can catch. Because there's nothing like making a good grab and making a good throw and then it pops out of the glove. Or
You get a web gym out there, it's da-da-da, da-da-da, and then they throw
Exactly.
across the diamond, and
Yes.
you got, Johnny so-and-so who can't field it, and
Yes.
it's all for naught.
I'm sure everybody tuned in this morning to hear about the Little League Baseball. But that's all we have because Major League Baseball sucks right now.
And we're going to get into the headline story at 7 with Juwan Howard. Spend a lot of the show talking about the Michigan head coach. I know you as a former athlete and alum were not happy to see the behavior. We're not happy to see what Juwan did post-game or even post-game press conference. We'll get into the fallout, the ramifications, what it means for his team, because, again, he is the head coach of a team that is on the bubble right now. There is a lot to talk about with Juwan. The other headline I saw from the Big Ten, and this is going to get lost in the shuffle. The Big Ten is one of the conferences that voted against college football playoff expansion. The Alliance, what is it good for? Apparently, keeping us from having the things we want.
Well, now let's pump the brakes on things that we
We all
want.
want expansion.
We want expansion, but it needs to be done so that it benefits the Power 5 conferences, not just one or two. And it's about, we all think that they're going to go to 12 teams, right? That's the model that's been thrown around the most. I think 6 teams, I think 8 teams, that's best. But I'm okay with staying at 4 for right now so that when expansion does come happen, and I'm just saying, let's just be patient. It is coming, all right? Let's not try and rush something that we all want, but do it the wrong way.
Pedal, meet, metal. Let's
Yes.
go. John, it's 4 years now. This is why it's noteworthy. I know it's not college football season, but this stuff happens in the offseason. These conversations, these power brokers gather, and they have been meeting on and off for 8 months, coming to the conclusion that expansion was necessary. Now, how do you want to do it? Is it 8? Is it 12? Is it qualifiers? Is it bye weeks? Is it
Where are they going to have the games?
Yes, where are they going to have the games? But everybody seemed to come together on the idea that 4 isn't enough. And you don't have to be a genius to realize there are 5 power conferences, 4 spots. That doesn't include half the sport in the group of 5 or the special Notre Dame. They got to do their own thing. You had a problem with the numbers. You have 4 spots for 5, 6, 7, 8 teams. You weren't doing a good job canvassing the sport to do the best postseason possible. And that became obvious. And rather than get all your heads together in a room, much like Major League Baseball, and hashing out a solution, and fair enough, get a solution. And John, it might not make everybody happy. That's called compromise. I want 8. Sounds like you want 6 to 8. You and I might have to get by with 12. And these are the conversations that should have been taking place and actually voted on. And they voted, and it was 8 to 3. And the obstruction, the resistance was from the Big Ten, Pac-12, I believe the ACC, the Alliance, stepping in to say, if we can't do it perfect, we're not going to do it at all. And now we get 4 years with a product that I think most people don't feel is enough.
They don't feel it's enough because they just want to watch more football. Now, the caution is, what kind of football are you actually going to be watching? Because right now we've got really good football when you have championship games, and those championship games basically are your first round of playoffs. So it's not like we don't already have 10 teams making the college football playoffs.
Well,
Because
some of those conference championship games were not play-in games last year. In fact, I think most of them, right?
Well,
In the ACC championship game
if
wasn't a
Oklahoma
play-in.
State wins, they're probably in.
Very interesting. I think they probably bump Bearcats out.
Probably. And so, that's a play-in game.
What if we
But
don't do
for
probably?
Pac-12,
What if we did automatically? Now it's not probably a playing game. Now all of these games mean
more at the end. Now all the conference championship games matter more. The route to get to the conference championship game, the regular season, matters more.
I would argue that they matter less, because if you have 12, now all of a sudden you've got 5 automatic bids, all right? So if you win your conference championship game and it's for, like, say, let's take the Pac-12. If Utah wins and they're automatically in, it discredits the fact that they didn't start the season off very well. They made a change at quarterback. Now all of a sudden Kyle Whittingham has one of the best teams in college football. I get that. But this is about 12 games and making those 12 games matter. And now all of a sudden you're in. And then, you know what, when they play a team like Oregon at the end of the year, having been beaten twice by Utah, I don't think anybody thought that they deserved.
You don't want them in.
You don't want them in, but if you have all these extra spots, now all of a sudden a team like Oregon, they might get in.
I think you're right. The concern is if you go too far, you start putting in 3-loss
That's
teams.
the problem to 12.
My perfect solution, and I might not get everything I want, is 8. 5 qualifiers, 1 group of 5, 2 floaters. So if you want to put your second SEC, or a year where you have 2 great Big Ten teams, or Notre Dame runs the table, or there's 2 undefeated group of 5s and nobody else, there's a little bit of flexibility with 8, and it still makes every Saturday walking the tightrope. You can't take a false step, or your whole season could fall apart. 4 to me is a problem because you have an imbalance in the sport right now, and I think if you open up a couple more spots to the playoff, you're going to open up a little more of an opportunity for those programs to sell, to recruit, to compete, and it forces a team like Georgia and Alabama to win 1 more game. And they may do it, and if they do it, they deserve the championship, but I'd like to see it play out that way.
The one thing that I think everybody can agree upon is 4 teams makes a lot of money. 6 teams would make more. 8 would make more. And 12 teams would make a boatload more. The problem is the quality in those first rounds. Because if you go to 12, then what? The first 4, they get buys. The second 8, they play. And where do they play? I mean, all of these things are why the alliance, and why, you know, I kept wondering, okay, what's the alliance going to do? What purpose does it serve? Well, we saw this weekend the purpose that it serves, and that is to try and make sure that those conferences, not just the SEC, has a seat at the table, or because the SEC has been dominant in the college football playoffs this past year with Alabama and Georgia. We've seen LSU, we've seen other teams. It's a matter of making sure that it becomes equal, so that hopefully down the road, and this is what I think the purists of the playoff system want it to be 12 teams that all have a shot at the title. But let's be honest, that's not going to happen, because to this point, you could get into the group of 4 now in the college football playoffs as it stands, and we all really know that there's one favorite going in and maybe another team that can compete, and we all build up the other 2 teams to make it think that these semifinal games are going to be really good. And then they're just not. And all of a sudden, we're left with the 2 teams that we all knew going in were probably the best teams. And so I'm okay with 4, because every once in a while, you get a 3 that wins and gets into that championship game, or you get a 4. But
You don't see
is
5
5
6
going to be good enough?
And that's what I would say. I'd say is we'll never know if we don't open it up.
Well, and so the reason you open it up is because right now in the Pac-12, we've eliminated everything west of the Mississippi. All right, you're
They may have done that to themselves, but
I
yes.
agree they've done it to themselves, but
the
after
results
you've
of the
been out
sport,
for
yes.
5 years, it's tough to recruit.
Yes.
If I want to go to the college football playoffs, I go to the Pac-12.
I got a handful of destinations, and they're mostly in the South. You can open up the possibility for more teams to get in, open up the possibility for more teams to recruit at a level that competes with who I consider to be a factory. Alabama has an assembly line. Everybody else is assembling the toys by hand. Alabama has an assembly line. How do we give more programs access to that? And I think opening up a couple playoff spots would be.
And the crazy thing is, the state of California, the state of Texas, has some phenomenal football players coming out every single year, and they are no longer staying at home. They're not going to UT, they're not going to USC, see. Now that'll change now with Lincoln Riley there. We're going to see a bump in recruiting there. But if all of those players from the West Coast are coming east to play because they want to be in the college football playoffs, it's not good for the game long term if you're continually eliminating half of the country. And when I say eliminating half the country, I don't care about the teams and programs. It's the fan base.
Great. So just for people who are tuning in, vote on the playoff expansion took place. It needed to be unanimous, 11-0. Right away, you know that's a problem. We can't get 100% of people to agree on anything. It was 8-3 with the 3 dissenting votes, ACC, Pac-12, and right in our backyard, the Big Ten. So we are stuck at 4 right now, which benefits the SEC more than anybody else. We will get into more Big Ten chatter. What's the Big Ten's reaction to Juwan Howard? What's our reaction to Juwan Howard? We're going to get into that at 7 o'clock. I got to get the explanation for what's going on with John Jansen's face. It's next. 97.1.
That's it. You want to get away, relax, and just simply have a good time. Get to the D Las Vegas for everything you're looking for. The D is taking all the necessary precautions to make sure your stay is safe and you can enjoy all the comforts of a high-end Las Vegas hotel without missing out on any of the high gaming energy and nightlife you're looking for. Remember, if you're looking for something a bit casual, go to the D. Maybe get a Coney dog at the American Coney Island. Or if you want a steak, go to the best steak place in Vegas. That's Andiamo Steakhouse right there at the D. At the D Las Vegas, the staff can set you up a round of golf, or you can party all night at the Long Bar. Get a group together and get to the D Las Vegas. Book a room at thed.com. That's thed.com. Or if you're staying on the Strip, make sure you put the D Las Vegas in downtown Vegas on your agenda. The D Las Vegas, your home for Detroit sports in Vegas.
97.1, the ticket. Traffic.
From the WWJ AM 950 Traffic Center, this report brought to you by North Bloomfield Properties. No accidents on the drive this morning. Traffic volume still light on the freeways. Taking a look at some road work out around Highland Park, Woodward, both directions from the Davison to McNichols. The left lane closure is scheduled until next month. Out in the Woodhaven Trenton area, there's a complete closure until the spring. Van Horn eastbound is shut down between Allen Road and Fort Street. Also in Romulus, Inkster Road southbound from Van Horn to E-Course is closed until next month. You can use Middle Belt instead. I'm Michelle Pena with traffic.
Get the latest sports news and inside information about Michigan and Michigan State on the Five Sky Zone with Rico Beard. Download it today on the Odyssey app.
If you're looking for a place to call home, let North Bloomfield Properties find the best place for you and your family. We also provide pre-screened quality tenants to our property owners. We love to match good people to good homes. Contact us today, northbloomfield.com.